So Hollywood's about to release a new movie called Roswell Delirium, and the trailer is very interesting because it has a very ham radio element to it. It features a young girl listening to space aliens on some frequencies that are not ham radio, but on an older ham radio that's probably twice as old as she is. It's unknown right now if it's like maybe a flashback. I don't know. I can't tell from the trailer, but I wanted to go through it and show it to you guys right now, so check this out. So the movie comes from Light Force Pictures. It says it's an official trailer, 2023. It's a brand new movie. I don't know if there's maybe a screen release date or something like that. At the time of this recording, it's a little bit less than 2 weeks old. Anthony Michael Hall's in it. Everybody knows him from his movies when he was a kid, but I really liked him in that TV show, The Dead Zone, that was on a while back. I used to watch that a lot. So let's check this out real quick because there's some really cool scenes of ham radios and CB radios also, and some frequency counters where we get to see what frequencies the aliens are coming in on. So look at this.
And that was
so this picture of this little girl right here,
and that was,
I think, is the same as this girl here with the scar on her face. I think that's the same character in the film, which means that if she was a little girl talking on her dad's TS-520, which you're going to see here in a second, that kind of explains the timeline as far as radios and what she would actually have in the house then. But let's find out. Yeah.
Was that the first and only time you've been abducted?
I like this guy. Anthony Michael Hall, he's pretty cool. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. Right there. All right, I'm going to move that back a bit. This is so this is I believe this is a TS-520. I think we get a better shot of it here in just a little bit. Kenwood SSB transceiver, obviously. Okay. And then this microphone that's here is a Turner 454HC ceramic. I used to see microphones like that on attached to CB radios. The Turner microphones, they were kind of universal. You could put them on any radio back then. So we get to see that first.
Does anyone copy my transmission?
Oscilloscope. Okay, there's a better picture of the radio there. It goes through it real quick. Let's see if I wonder if oh, there it is right there. Yeah, so TS-520. There's no S or no SAT on the bottom of it, but right there on the bottom of the screen is the TS-520. Okay. And that looks pretty mint. So I'm going to guess that this is when she was a little girl, and maybe it's her dad's. I don't know yet. Okay, so 26.6377 megahertz. That's a President CB radio. The silver radio at the bottom there is a President model. President's a brand. CB radio is usually 40 channels. Maybe back then this might have been 23 channels. Whether it's 23 or whether it's a 40 channel radio, the channel 1 was always remained the same, which is 26.965 megahertz. So we are below the actual CB radio. So she's supposedly on this. You see this band button right here on this President where it's got 5 bands. Now, I'm not going to tell you how I know this, but back in the day, I used to have a radio that had 6 or 8 bands, and we would go to what's called uppers and lowers, which is like the 40 channels below channel 1 and the 40 channels above channel 40. I'm not suggesting you do that, but yeah, that might have been a thing a long time ago, like before I had a ham radio license. Yeah, it happened quite a bit, and there was quite a few people on there, so I'm kind of surprised nobody ever said anything about it. But back then, it was like I'm sure it's probably illegal back then, but I never heard anything about it until years later, where I got my ham radio license. I'm like, oh, you know what? We weren't really supposed to be down there on those frequencies. So she is effectively below channel 1 right now. I will link this video below in the comments so you can go watch the whole thing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing here. I'm just focusing on the radio part. Here we go. This is a really good shot right here of all of her equipment. Okay, so we've got on the left over there is a frequency counter and that President CB radio with another frequency counter above it. That black and white thing where my mouse is moving up and down, that's an old style SWR meter from Radio Shack. I can't tell if that one says Radio Shack or Realistic on it, but they used to have some that look like that. Next to it right here, this green piece, it looks like some sort of, well, that's an oscilloscope. Okay. It looks like a Drake amplifier or a not Collins. What's the other one? There's a green SB100 amplifier that you see a lot at Hamfest or something like that. And in fact, I think that's kind of what that thing is next to it. I don't remember if those are, I don't think they're Collins. I think they're Drakes. I am not very vintage in this video, apparently. And you can't see the name on it here. So that looks like an oscilloscope to the left. It's got a set of headphones sitting in front of it. To the right of that, here, looks like an old shortwave / AM/FM receiving radio that you could buy at the store back in the day, and you could receive only regular broadcast band AM and FM radio, but also you could receive shortwave radio. So that's kind of what that looks like there. I can't really tell what this is over here in the corner. Right up here, where my mouse is moving right now, that looks like another 40 channel. It's upside down. That looks like a Galaxy CB radio. I still have one of those floating around here somewhere. Below that, I can't tell what that is, and that's the TS520 on the far right with another kind of like either a VFOB or some sort of frequency oscillator or frequency counter there above it on the far right there that's facing this way.
It's a distress call or what? But that transmission has been repeating for the last 51 days.
Do you know that you're
Okay, so here she goes with the CW key.
exposed to top secret military exercise? That you learned of the Soviets.
So now we're on 28.1339 megahertz. Now the aliens have upgraded themselves from a illegal CB radio that was below channel 1 to an actual frequency that's inside of the ham radio bands. 28.1, they should be using CW on that, maybe? Yeah, probably CW. Maybe some data transmission, something like that. So 10 meters on fire, baby. Okay, maybe that's why all 10 meters has been up. So the 10-meter band has been open for the last little while, 6-8 months, something like that, off and on. Maybe that's why. So that's it. Roswell Delirium, and it doesn't really say when. 2023. 2023 is all it really says. So there we go, Roswell Delirium, and it is a movie that includes amateur radio. If you are interested in getting your ham radio license and learning more about all of these radios, and that TS520, it didn't really have, that was before the year of the built-in tuner. Some of the best ham radio tuners, antenna tuners that you can connect to the back of a radio, such as a TS520, are made by LDG Electronics. LDG Electronics is sponsoring this video. I really appreciate their support of this channel. You will be able to save a 20% discount on all LDG Electronics devices, tuners, matching units, cables and whatnot, meters here. 20% off of everything at the Huntsville Ham Fest, which is taking place in August of 2023. Walk up to the Gigaparts booth and tell the guys that you saw this video, that you saw a video on the Ham Radio 2.0 channel, and tell them you want to take advantage of the 20% off deal for anything from LDG. Thank you, LDG, and to Gigaparts for supporting this channel. 2023, so I don't know exactly when this is going to come out. This episode's being recorded in August, but I dare say that I will probably go see this movie when it releases. In fact, maybe on the day it releases. Maybe I'll go see this movie and then do an immediate after-action report. It's not exactly legal to take pictures during a movie, but I might try to do it anyway, because it's fair use. I don't know. We'll see. Presumably, there's a lot more. I mean, these are just clips throughout the movie. They're not really trying to say, hey, come see this movie about ham radio. They're talking about aliens, right? So we get to see a little bit of the beginning, a little bit of the end, a little bit, kind of get an idea of what's going on. So this will be something that I will absolutely go see myself and then give an after-action report about the movie. Maybe they do some things that don't make a lot of sense, like a President radio being on below Channel 1 may not make a lot of sense, although that one did have 5 or 6 bands on it. So perhaps that's true. Perhaps that's how it's going to work. Have you guys heard of this movie? What do you think about it? Who, out of all of you, owns or did own a TS520? I had one for a short while. I got rid of it. I sold it on QRZ because it was actually a used item I picked up at a Hamfest a while back, and I liked it. It was a good radio, but I wanted to use my money for other things, so I sold it. But who has a TS520, and what do you think about it? Put a comment below.